Hello everyone, welcome to SOSCAN 2022. I'm Sriram Sitaraman. I'm from Qualitas. I have with me Lamech Simon, my solution architect, the creator of the Q Spider-Man solution for Qualitas. Let me give you a brief of what this solution is all about. As we all know, the superpowers of Spider-Man: speed, agility, healing capacity, and early warning identification. So similar to that, and also the main one, which is the wall crawling, right? So similar to that, for the quality, we have created this solution with all these features in similar to Spider-Man. That's why we came up with this Q Spider-Man technique. Q Spider-Man is an autonomous automation solution which crawls dynamically through all the pages of a website, helps catch defects early and improve customer experience. It's a one-stop autonomous automation test validation solution which provides functional UI, UX, and non-functional validation without any scripting or test automation design effort. It focuses on detecting broken links, visual imperfections, single user performance, accessibility, search engine optimization opportunities, responsive web design issues across browsers and devices, and helps teams to capture up to 15 to 20% of functional UI UX and non-functional defects early in the life cycle. It not only helps with single release validation, but also helps you to baseline these measurements and compare subsequent releases for quality improvements. The beauty of self-healing capabilities compares the earlier versions with the new versions and gives the user the ability to identify the changes within the screens and also find out the defects across these life cycles. It can be triggered as part of your CI/CD pipelines to improve your quality gates within the DevOps. It has a self-healing capability, and it has the AI-based or a test solution that can be used on customer-facing applications without the need for having a lot of coding through automation, different automation tools. But with just minimal configurations, it can help you cover both functional and non-functional automation for your website. Let's go over some of the high-level features of solution what we have today. The first one, we'll talk about the functional testing, how Q Spider-Man solution helps to validate a web crawler, how it helps to find out a broken link testing, how it helps to create an autonomous script generation engine on the fly with the behavioral of clickable objects. And the fourth one is the text, UI, and compatibility validations across devices, across browsers, how it can be done quickly using our solution. The non-functional testing features includes single performance test, SEO validations, accessibility testing, cookie validations. Remember, we are not planning to cover the entire depth and breadth of each of these areas. As Spider-Man, it is primarily to find out early the flaws in your system, and that's what the objective of Q Spider-Man as well. With that, I call upon my solution architect Lamech to walk us through how Q Spider-Man can integrate to the open source and the commercial tools in the industries, how we have leveraged the capabilities and the features of the popular tools in the industry, and how it helps to cover both functional and non-functional UI UX aspect of websites.
Thanks, Sriram. I'll pick it up from the tools leverage and proceed with a demo perspective. Thank you all for joining this particular session. Thank you very much for the opportunity provided. I'll start with the basics of tools and the bare minimal software that is required for this particular utility. So for a Q Spider-Man to execute, so this entire code is based on a Java. So as long as like you have Java version 1.8 or above, it should be perfectly fine. And as part of the package, like we have considered Selenium for all the web executions and Cucumber TestNG from scripting perspective. We have currently used Sauce Lab for execution, so that like you would be able to execute this script across various device browsers and mobile combinations. And one important aspect is like we have also used Sauce Lab visual testing capability. This ensures if there is any minor change in your visuals, like let it be a font, let it be uppercase, lowercase, or a background color or an image, those things will be immediately highlighted by Source Lab visual testing. Apart from that, for most of the non-functional validations, we have included Lighthouse so that at any point of time in any page, like we are ensuring like all the non-functional aspects like SEO, accessibility, and other things are covered. So I'll go ahead and we'll have a quick look around the coding perspective, like what are the bare minimal configurations that's required to be updated to run this for a new client, and how quick we can update it and start executing for any new client within few minutes. And as I told you earlier, since this entire scripting is based on Cucumber, it's a very simple BDD based scripting. So at any point of time, anyone like a business user or a user with like minimal scripting knowledge can even like quickly update these reference details and start executing these things. So here, uh, for the very first time of execution, obviously the bare minimal information that a user needs to provide is like on which website they're going to execute, what is the level of crawl they want to do, and what is the level of validations. So as you see here, like obviously since it's going to be the very first time of execution, you'll not have any baselines for comparisons. So like I've just ignored the baseline comparison. We are focusing on the crawling. We are focusing on the URL redirect validations, non-performance like Lighthouse executions, and the test script generations. I'll quickly show you like how we generate a test script and how in turn like we are using this end-to-end execution to generate a detailed report. So let me start with generating the functional test script block. So let us take a simple example like any websites. Like this would obviously work for any of the websites. The bare minimal inputs required are like the set of clickable experts, the generic experts, like how unique CSS properties or XPath elements you provide for a link, button, checkbox, radio button, toggle button, all those things. Just that bare minimal details, as long as it's configured in our piece of tool, we'll be able to like quickly run this. So I'll first generate few scripts and show you like how it is working, and then go back to the logics and show you the in detail benefits of each and everything. So I'm just doing a test ng execution. The script should be triggered in few seconds. So you would be able to see that the site is getting launched. The moment a site is launched, we screen through all the elements that is present in that particular web page. Once the elements are screened, we categorize two different things. One is set of links that is present in the page. Other thing is set of clickable elements that is present in this particular web page. So for every clickable elements, it is automatically generating the scripts now. So there isn't any pre-configured script for this particular website. On the go, it is generating this particular scripts. I'll show you the generated scripts at the end of execution. These scripts can be used in future for your regular regression pack. The core concept of your Q Spiderman is this Q Spiderman techniques helps you to identify the current behavior of your existing application, and it does a baseline at this point of time. So from next release onwards, if there is any change in current behavior, this Cube Spider-Man technique will be able to highlight exactly the change that is observed in this particular build. So that like instead of like you creating a number of test cases and executing it, it highlights the change. You can just ensure like, yes, this change specifically matches your requirement or is it deviating a bit. And as Sriram mentioned earlier, the biggest autonomous validation over here is this is not only taking care of your script healing, it is completely taking care of script generation and current behavior identification. So I'll quickly show you a few sample reports which we have generated. So for the current URL which I've generated, it has generated around like 15 test cases for this particular web page alone. Uh, so for demo perspective, I have restricted it to a single web page, but logically what happens is it has the capability to crawl through all the web pages and generated functional blocks for each and every web page present. So if you see here, like it has identified R brands as a test case, it ensures like it executes, clicks R brands and does a visual recording what happens when R brands is clicked. So next time onwards, when you click R brands, if this pop-up is not properly expanded or if any of the menu items are missing or something, it will be automatically identified as part of our source visual capability. And this also ensures like it generates functional test scripts which involves multiple steps as well. So which means like uh, for example, like if I'm going to Unilever website itself, I'll give a quick explanation over there. So when we click R brands, it needs to identify like after clicking R brands, it has like a beauty and personal care, it has food and refreshment, home care, so on and so forth. So like those things are also taken care, and like there are multiple test cases which involves multiple steps. At any point of time in future, if there is any change in this particular list, if there is a new element introduced or if the existing element has been replaced or certain elements are deleted, these things will be clearly highlighted for you without making any scripting changes. It executes the old scripts. Once the old script gets failed, it identifies any new functional block present in this particular web page, generates it, and gives you an output showing like this has been renamed or these are the new elements that has been created in this particular page. So these are the new test cases that is getting added, so on and so forth. So the autonomous behavior is not just for script healing, it also takes care of script creation. That is the only reason Q Spiderman technique is able to create a complete new test flow. It's not a object healing, it can identify the test flows for you. So this is the core from functional perspective. Apart from this functional perspective, there are so many benefits which Q Spiderman technique provides you. For example, each and every page like it contains like hundreds or thousands of links. So on an average, it will be like few hundreds and the max 1,000 links too. What we do is like across the web pages, we capture all the links, then consolidate the list of unique links, and through HTTP client, we identified is there a broken link present in your website. How this helps us is we would be able to validate close to 15,000 links in 2 to 3 minutes. Whereas for any other UI based execution or manual execution, it will take days for you to validate this 15,000 links. So this helps you to very easily predict the broken links present in any part of your web page. So for most of the clients like we have executed, we have identified even in their existing live websites, there is an average of 5 to 10 dead links which is still present in their live sites, which is not identified by test even after post release. So these are the core benefits. The other benefits from source lab and quality test perspective, this is complete scriptless. So which means like when I'm going to execute it for any other client, it doesn't involve much of script changes or anything from our perspective. So it's a few configuration changes which can be done in few minutes and can be triggered for any new clients immediately. One important benefit or advantage which Qualitest has generated out of this is like the day one output. So generally, like recent days, clients are willing to invest on infrastructure, tool costs, and everything. But their perspective is what is the return they get out of it? How soon they can get returns from this? What we say is we trigger the script on starting of the day. On the end of the day, we can give an output saying like the number of web pages we have crawled, the number of test cases we have generated for them, and few for sure potential defects. For example, if there is a dead link or if application crashes or something, those things can be immediately highlighted. We need not even compare the existing behavior or the Jira documents to highlight those things. So on day zero, we'll be able to provide all these things. From their next release onwards, for any change that is getting deployed, the scripts are capable of identifying the change in behavior that has been deployed. From a non-functional perspective, we can give a high-level overview saying like what is their current performance score, accessibility score, best practices, SEO, and page objective. Uh, in current trend, you would know like SEO plays a very important role, because like if your SEO score is going to be low, it's going to be hard for your end customer to identify your web page through a search engine like Google or so on and so forth. And we take care of multiple best practices norms as well. So like if your page is not HTTPS enabled, or if you're using any vulnerable libraries, all those things are going to be highlighted on day zero. So we have highlighting around like 160 to 170 parameters with respect to performance, accessibility, so on and so forth. And each and everything is individually reported web page specific. So in future, after you have enhanced your non-functional capability of your web application, we can regenerate this report and exactly spot on and say like these things have been improved with a degradation or without a degradation. If anything has been degraded, those things can be highlighted as well. I'll quickly show you a few sample reports which will help you to have a look and feel like what we can do for you. Just a moment. So the very first thing we would like to provide to any customer is like from their existing web application, how many web pages did we crawl? So like what are all the list of web pages we have crawled and identified, and this is going to be the unique number of web pages that they hold at this point of time. And if a client wants to restrict to any specific subdomain or number of web pages, so on and so forth, it's just simple configurations which can be updated immediately. Second thing is like we also let them know like how many numbers of links has been validated across these pages. So as I told you earlier, like there are hundreds of links in each pages, so the total number of links validated is close to 108 to 109k links for this particular application. And out of this application, if there are any dead links present, we highlight the dead links, and we also give them a detailed report saying like what are all the web pages that is containing these dead links. So they can either fix it in the web page, or they can just ensure like these dead links are being removed from the reference perspective. We provide like details like how many number of web pages are having like multiple hops, and like what are all the number of URLs that has been validated for redirect link. And for every customer, we individually give them the scores like how their current single user performance, behavior is, accessibility is, best practices, and other things. And again, to highlight, accessibility is based on dlibq axe library. So obviously it won't cover all your accessibility testing, but the set of accessibility testings which can be automated are covered over here. So this is a high level score from accessibility perspective. Similarly, like we provide them the performance index, like the number of pages which didn't satisfy their performance criteria, accessibility, so on and so forth. Like that, like we'll be able to give a detailed thing like what is the current score, what was the expected score, so on and so forth. And then we also give them an overview on like the number of functional test cases that's been generated, so that like we will be able to have a quick look like how many number of test cases have been generated for which specific web page, so on and so forth. So these are the high level of details that we provide in a summary. And in a detailed report, you'll be able to see the details of like where the failures was with respect to the visual runner, like what are the pages that had visual failures, what are all the pages like where web crawler comparison failed, like where a new link was present or where the link was being replaced, so on and so forth. Similarly, like degradation in performance, all those things have been highlighted for each and every page in detailed manner as well. So this is a high level overview of Q Spiderman technique. On top of Q Spiderman technique, what we have done is like we have also ensured like we have integrated this into our existing automation framework. So Qualitest has a complete concrete automation framework called Qualiframe, which takes care of top to bottom, which means like uh, your pipeline, getting it triggered from your Slack or Teams, and getting the code checked out from GitHub, uh, rolling out the build, publishing the results in Zephyr or ALM. All those things has been taken care. So we have integrated the SKU Spiderman technique into the Qualiframe as well. So on day zero, all these results can also be pushed into your Zephyr, so on and so forth. And next time onwards, when there is any update, you can consume this and do it. And the last final thing which I would like to highlight is, as I told you, we have modular system level test script generated for each and every function in each and every web page. If you want to use the script and tie this together to form an end-to-end script, it's again very simple. We have given the capability. I will quickly show you that. So in our existing qualifying framework, if required, if you need, you can always use this execute test script mechanism and mention like from the generated script which web page, which script has to be called in which sequence. So like you can use the step definition and write any number of steps and say like in page 1 call login method, in page 2 call search customer, in page 3 call payment function, so on and so forth, and stitch it together. So this is the current capability. So at this point of time, Cube Spiderman technique is capable of generating the entire current behavior. Maybe in future, we'll also be working on like how to verify the current behavior with the expected behavior based on the user story, so on and so forth. Similarly, like at this point of time, we have covered all clickable objects and edit text boxes or text fields which need data entry are in beta stage at this point of time. This is the high level details from our end, and passing this call back to Sriram.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Lamech, for taking time to walk us through the features of Q Spiderman, both from functional as well as non-functional, and the tools what we could integrate to, and also about highlighting how it can integrate to your own automation framework, open source one. So with that, we are at the end of the session. So we will open up for any questions. Before that, I would like to extend my thanks for sincerely um, taking time to participate in SourceCon 2022 and also learning about Q Spiderman technique and other important test automation and AI related sessions. Thank you, Sauce Labs, for giving us an opportunity to share the stage with you and also share our solution with the wider forum. Thank you, and looking forward with connecting with you all in the networking session. With that, we will open up for questions related to this solution.